So, as with every other football YouTube channel this summer, we're going to do a keep bench sell of the Tottenham players. Now, we have a deep campaign run, so there's going to have to be quite a lot of squad depth. Thank you, Ange, for getting us into the Champions League. Never forget. But given that, we're going to first go through our current squad and see what Thomas Frank has to work with and I believe he should do. So, starting off with Vicario. I believe he is our best option in goal. I believe he's probably one of the better keepers in the league, although, yes, David Raya is much better, and yes, but I don't think that's somewhere that we should be trying to change too much this summer. Especially when we have, let's put him up there, a good backup in Kinski. So, moving on from that, the next player is Reguilon. To be honest, I'm surprised he's still on the Tottenham team page. Let's get rid of him. Let's get as much as we can from him. I believe we're just paying wages or he's out on loan. But I don't think he's going to be adding much to our squad. Danso, I believe, played the role that he's supposed to play, trading time with Romero and Van de Ven and also filling in for when they're injured. But I don't think he is in our strongest starting 11. I believe Dragusin is coming back from an injury, but again, like I said, we need a deep squad and especially European proven players. I believe Dragusin, having plied his trade in Italy, is a good option for that. Next, our captain, Heung-min Son. As a player who is a club legend, I believe he should be allowed to end his career how he wants, whether that's to stay at Tottenham forever and, engrave himself in the club history, or whether or not he wants to have a big money move and go to, for example, Saudi. But if it were up to me, I would be keeping Heung-min Son at Spurs. I believe he still has a huge role to play, and I believe his leadership is key and he brings good vibes. However, given how Tottenham seems to be being run as a business, I wouldn't be surprised that if there was a big money move from Saudi, that we see Heung-min Son playing, for example, for Al Hilal next season. Here's hoping he stays. Next player we have is Bissouma. Bissouma, I believe, is one of the stronger starters that we have, although he does have, a air of, let's say, eccentricities about him that often leads him to get in trouble with the refs. In our strongest starting 11, do I think he's one of the starting central defensive midfielders? I believe he has the quality to do so, so yes, it's a risk, but I would want Bissouma. Now, Richarlison, we've given him lots of chances. We've seen season upon season, he just isn't performing at Spurs the way he did when he was at Everton. I believe his stock's risen. He played quite a big role, I think, in the Europa League final. But I think we should try and let him spread his wings and go elsewhere. James Maddison, given how injury restricted he is every single season, I think it would be... Oh, let's put Kinski here as well in the bench rather than here. And let's just rearrange this a bit nicely. So we've got Son and Bissouma. So, Maddison, like what I was saying. I think Maddison is a player that needs to have, like in the NBA, a minutes restriction. Given that, I think I would play him mainly on the bench as an impact player and limit the amount of minutes that he's asked to play. I think with limited minutes, Maddison is probably one of the best impact players. However, he is our captain, so that's a little bit difficult of a pill to swallow. Now, Mathys Tel. I believe that we definitely need to keep him, and we definitely should be looking to perhaps have him swap time with Son. In fact, I'm going to put Son on the bench and Tel on the left. Mainly because we need to be looking to advance our squad, and we can't overplay players like Son, like Maddison, who, when they're injured, we can't just always blame injuries every single season. We need to get out of this. So this is quite a harsh listing, but I believe that Heung-min Son should perhaps have less minutes this season, but still play a significant part. Next, we have Destiny Udogie. I believe he is our starting left back. and I believe we play best with him at left back. And Archie Gray plays significant minutes, but I think he's proven himself this season with the games that he's been trusted in or forced to be in because of injuries. By the way, guys, I will be moving players from the bench onto my keep, which is essentially the starting 11. Come the end of the of this ranking, if I have gaps, but I just want to see what our strongest and confirmed starters should be. Next, Bergvall. If I'm very honest, of the young players we bought, I genuinely think Bergvall should be in our starting 11. I think that Bergvall has demonstrated a grit and determination that makes him one of the better players in our squad and one of the future hearts of the squad. Timo Werner, season upon season, has demonstrated that he's got pace, although the league is catching up to him. He just doesn't have an end product. So I would probably like to see him go somewhere else and perhaps have better luck there. Christian Romero is very interesting. As the vice captain of our club and, one of the Ange loyalists, he did say that he was only really staying if Ange stays. If it were me, I'd want him to stay at the club. So I'm going to put him at keep. But I'm almost dreading it, but I believe I can see him making a summer exit. Maybe to Athletico, like he's been mentioning. Solanke, no question about it, is our starting number 9. I think he's had a good first season. I think with more chemistry with the squad, he is one of the players who will be improving. Fraser Forster, please get rid of him. My only memory of him was that awful performance. I don't even remember. I've cleared it from my mind. But whatever his performance was, that nearly got us kicked out of the Europa League, I believe. He was the cause of it. We need to get rid of him. Kulusevski, we need to do everything we can to stay. Yes, he was injured towards the end of the season. Yes, he didn't end as strongly as he started, but I think we need to remember how much of an impact he was at the beginning of the season, and in a different system, perhaps not being asked to do as much as Ange asked of him, he might be able to do more. I do believe that right-sided central role is where he plays best. And then moving on, the Europa League winning goal scorer, Brennan Johnson, I think is our right-sided right winger, which allows Kulusevski to drift in from there. And Kulusevski therefore takes over from the Maddison role. Pedro Porro, let's just extend this down a little bit to give us a bit more space. Pedro Porro, I believe we should do everything we can. He's one of the better offensive right backs. Yes, his defensive work rate lacks a little bit from time to time, but let's bear in mind that he is one of the better defenders that we've got, and that his creative output is something that we need as a squad. Next, we have Jed Spence. Now, we've already got Udogi and we've already got Pedro Porro. I believe Jed Spence is an indispensable player. Almost in certain games, I think Jed Spence should be the first choice. But given I've already got both our fullbacks here, I'm going to put him as one of the stronger bench players. Wilson Odeberg, unfortunately, hasn't had lots of minutes through injury, but I believe that he is a bright spark and one of our better right-wing options, and I believe he'll play a key role next season. We're definitely keeping him. And then on to Pape Sarr, who I believe rounds out our starting 11. Nothing more to say. He is one of the better players we've got. I actually think I might have too many players. I might have to drop Bergvall to the bench because, unless I've got my numbers wrong, Van de Ven is the hero of Spurs. That goal line clearance in the Europa League final, stuff of legend. And because of that, I believe that Van de Ven is definitely in our starting 11. Ben Davies, he's done a lot for our club. I think that you should, look after your own. I think if he stays on as a player coach or whatever, I don't think we should be looking to loan or sell him unless he wants to. So we should go by his wishes. And finally, Bentancur, I think he's had good minutes. I think he is one of our better defensive-minded midfielders. but I would probably say, given how injury prone he is, he probably starts on the bench. Now, how do I believe we'll set up? Like I said, obviously we'll have Vicario in goal. We will have, let's move these players around a little bit. We'll have Van de Ven and Romero as our centre backs. We will have, where's Pedro Porro? Pedro Porro at right back. We will have Udogi at left back, followed by Sarr here and Basuma. Kulusevski as the more offensive-minded midfielder. We might actually have Sarr here as a holding midfielder with Basuma here. Kulusevski there. Solanke up top. Tells on the right. On the left, I mean. Johnson on the right. I believe this is how we start strongest. Now, if I'm very honest, given how Tottenham's being run as a business and we have quite a few more elderly players in the squad, I do think, for example, Heung-min Son is actually going to be on his way out this summer. I believe Romero is going to be out this summer to La Liga. I believe Ben Davies may retire or just, if he wants to, go somewhere else this summer. And I believe that Bentancur might also be looking for an exit from the club, which leaves us a little bit light, but does bring in a lot of capital. As you can see, that doesn't really affect our starting 11 other than having Danso replace Romero in as a centre-back pairing, but we would need more backup or ideally a landmark signing. And does still leave us with quite a strong bench. Given that, I would say, actually, you know what? I'm going to save that for the transfers videos that I'm going to do next week. Now, bear in mind, there may be a couple of moves that have been done already. Let's just reformat this whilst I'm talking. So there's been a couple of moves that have already been sort of, brewing. Obviously, Tom Frank has come in and we've got a full transfer window pending. So we will probably need to strengthen the squad with a bit of depth, although we have quite a few depth players already. And we'll definitely need some more defensive backup. And I would say like for like rather than a obvious step down. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Heung-min Son's going to stay? Do you think that Romero is going to stay now that Postecoglou's been fired? And yeah, catch you guys at the next video. Peace.